all, a very warm welcome to ETV News. I'm Grum Tariku. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his delegation have visited Doha, Qatar in connection to the 5th United Nations Conference on the Least Developed Countries, LDC5. LDC5 will take place in Doha, Qatar, with the objective to mobilize the international community's commitments towards the implementation of the Doha Programme of Action for the LDCs 2020 to 2031, adopted by the UN General Assembly in April 2022. The world's least developed countries are in race against time to deliver Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed met with Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani today. The two have explored ways of enhancing bilateral ties between their respective countries and exchanged views of regional issues. There are many opportunities for Qatari investments in various sectors in Ethiopia, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed noted. During the course of his stay in Qatar, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed also made His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, father of the Emir of the State of Qatar. The discussions revolved around supporting social development and investments in Ethiopia. In a later development, in the sidelines of the 5th UNLDC conference, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held bilateral discussions with General Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, President of the Sovereign Council of Sudan, and Mian Abdul Malik Said, the Prime Minister of Yemen. Prime Minister Abiy held the discussion on the sidelines of the 5th United Nations Conference on the Least Developed Countries, LDC5, in Doha, Qatar, according to the Office of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his delegation are in Doha, Qatar to take part at the 5-day conference. Government leaders and other stakeholders are set to assess the implementation of the Istanbul Programme of Action and mobilize additional international support and action for the world's 46 least developed countries.
The 70th Global Inter.
It's expected that
Ethiopia is what Ethiopians
Our news is always aired on Monday to Friday on 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. and also on Saturday and Sunday on 9 p.m. Make sure to follow us.
The history of Ethiopia is mainly of success when it comes to the struggle against foreign invaders who attempt to challenge its unity, sovereignty and integrity. The recently celebrated victory of Adwa is the case in point. When it comes to the war in the eastern part of Ethiopia, which is against the invasion of Somalia troops led by Ziad Barre, brings us to the decisive victory of Karamara. This year marks the 45th anniversary of Karamara victory. Daniel Kasaun tells us more on this.
The history of Ethiopia has lots of unique history. Some are gained naturally and others are attained by bitter struggles against enemies who try to challenge unity, sovereignty and territorial integrity. The victory of the 45th Karamara celebrations at Ethiopia Friendship Park year after year depicts the bitter sacrifice Ethiopians paid for its loyalty and dignity and marks the victory Ethiopian Defense Force over the invading army of Ziad Barre of Somalia in 1975. The event was colorful at the Ethiopia Friendship Park in the presence of members of the diplomatic community, high government officials, veterans and residents of Addis Ababa and others. Addressing the participants in his opening remarks, Ambassador of Cuba to Ethiopia, Jorge Leifberg Nicolas, said the sacrifice paid by Cuban soldiers at the battle became a strong foundation for the relations of brotherhood and solidarity between the Cuban and Ethiopian peoples.
45 years ago today, Karamara put an end to the expansionist dream of the Somali military regime and allow Ethiopian territorial integrity and sovereignty over the Ogaden Desert to be maintained. But beyond that, Karamara sealed with the blood spill of the battlefield the deep and lasting friendship that exists today between the people of Cuba and Ethiopia.
A testimony that Ethiopians from time to time paid the ultimate sacrifices in defense of our liberty, integrity, and sovereignty.
The historical ties between the two countries got strength from the historic military cooperation in 1975 and has continued in multifaceted areas. Ethiopia is a country that has defended sovereignty from many attempts of invasion by outsiders through sacrifice of brave sons and daughters, and Ethiopia always remembers the support it received from sister countries at times of need.
In a related development, Ethiopia celebrates the 45th anniversary of the stunning victory against the invading Somali forces of Siad Barre in 1977. The Ethiopians rallied and launched a bold counter-offensive against the Somali army, thanks to the indispensable support from Cuba, finally routing it out. Cuba's Fidel Castro helped Ethiopia out at its hour of distress when the enemy crossed 700 kilometers inside Ethiopia's sovereign territory. Habtam Mashagre takes us back in history.
Ethiopia received is unnecessary in quality and in quantity, and very dangerous to the area.
Somalia invaded Ethiopia in mid-1977 to realize a dream that had eluded its leaders for 17 years, the annexation of the Ogaden, the first step toward the creation of a greater Somalia coextensive with the Somali people in the Horn of Africa. Ethiopian resistance ranged from feeble to fierce, whereas most scrambled and retreated in disorder before the advancing enemy fought tenaciously under conditions of extreme stress. Barre's army used over 28 fighter jets beside its modernized weapon to realize its daydream to expand its territory by taking Ogaden and other regions from Ethiopia. Some countries have fumed the devastating war between Ethiopia and Somalia by arming conflicting parties in the Horn region.
What is the American strategic interest in the Horn of Africa?
I think our strategic interest in the Horn of Africa is objectively very modest, but the danger is that if enough people are convinced that the Horn of Africa is strategically significant, then, as Congressman Bonker said, there is a danger of more and more countries being drawn in, although I cannot believe that there would be a major escalation of the conflict geographically into the Middle East. That seems to me extremely unlikely. But the real danger is the constant reiteration, as even in your opening remarks, that this is an area of great strategic significance. I think that that case is yet to be made by the congressman or by anybody else.
They had very little chance of getting American full support. But they knew that if they tried to present themselves as anti-Soviet, they would improve their chances.
Surprisingly, within 50 days of active war, the Ethiopian Air Force launched a counterattack against the Somalia to recapture strategic places. Legesse Tefera, Ashenafi Gebre Tzadek, and Mesfin Haile go down into history books as those who have played unprecedented role to demolish the MiG-21 fighter jets while they flew to distract the Somalia Air Force base, which was the key decision to win the battle. The war was devastating and the Somalia army defeated due to the whole organized attack from Ethiopian forces. The Cuban support under the leadership of Fidel Castro was a paradigm shift. Cuba sent around 15,000 soldiers who fought alongside the Ethiopian army against the invading force of Somalia. The strategic significance in the Horn region is another explanation as why the conflict escalated. Thousands of Ethiopians have paid the ultimate sacrifice to drive the Somalis out of Ethiopia's sovereign territory.
Permanent representative of Ethiopia to the UN office in Geneva and other international organizations in Switzerland, Ambassador Tsagab Kababao paid a courtesy visit on Filippo Grandi, High Commissioner for the UN Refugee Agency. He discussed ways of supporting Ethiopia, which hosts close to 1 million refugees, including the more than 100,000 new refugees from Somalia, which are currently in country due to the ongoing conflict in the Lasanda district. The UNHCR High Commissioner appreciated the long-standing generosity of the people and government of Ethiopia for welcoming refugees. UNHCR is working on a new appeal for the new arrivals, he noted.
Welcome to the land of origins. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia is pleased to serve all your traveler banking needs. If you have money from any of these 16 countries, you can convert it to local currency by visiting our nearest branch. Alternatively, our secure Forex ATMs accept cash exchange, or if you prefer using your cards, we've partnered with Visa, MasterCard, and UnionPay so that you can withdraw cash from our local ATMs or make cashless transactions at thousands of local POS partners securely and with confidence. We are linked with more than 700 global banks through our direct SWIFT address, CBE Teta. We also work with 16 international money transfer agents, out of which Tune and World Remit enable you to make direct deposits into our savings and current accounts or our popular CBE Burr mobile wallet. Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, the bank you can always rely on.
በመጣበት ጊዜ ያውን የሚታየው ቤት አሁን ተሰራው ደግሞ ከተረሳዳሪው ተገልጸዋል በቂ አይደለም ዱንካን የለም ይሄ መንጎስር ነው የሚሰፍረው ሁሉ ይሄ ዝናብ እየዘነበ እዛ ውስጥ ነው የሚያድረው አሁን አንዳንዶቹ ማሻአላ እየመጡ ማለት ነው ራሳቸው ለሶስት ቀን ብቻ አድሮበት የሚወጡ እየሰሩ እየተስፋፋ ነው ለወደፊቱ ኢንሻአላ እኛ ተስፋ አንቆርጥም
በብዛት ያገር ውስጥ ቱሪስቶች ወይም የሃይማኖቱ ተከታዮች በአብዛኛው ጊዜ በመስከረም ወር ውስጥ በሚከበረው ያረፋ በዓል ላይ ብዛት ያላቸው የሃይማኖቱ ተከታዮች ወደዛ ቦታ መጥተው ያንን በዓል ያከብራሉ
Welcome back, and you are watching ETV News. Pakistani business delegation has arrived here in Addis Ababa this evening over 80-member investment and trade delegation have arrived this evening to explore business opportunities and investment opportunities in the country. State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia, Burtukan Ayano, and Ethiopian ambassador to Pakistan welcomed the delegation. To tell us more on this, I'm now joined in the studio by our staff reporter, Tigist Sarnesa. Tigist, good evening.
Good
and
evening.
welcome to the studio. Can you tell us more about the delegation, the business delegation that we have this evening from Pakistan?
Pakistani business delegation consisting of more than 80 investors have arrived here in Addis right now, a while ago. This group is expected to explore business and investment opportunities in Ethiopia. And Ethiopian ambassador to Pakistan, Jamal Bakr, confirmed to journalists that the group will be the group that arrived here today are engaged in agriculture, manufacturing, minerals, technology, healthcare, and other sectors to arrive to explore business opportunities here in Ethiopia. And it's this visit, business group's visit, is expected to boost the bilateral relations of the two countries. This is what is happening.
So basically the purpose of the visit of the delegation is to explore business and investment opportunities in the country.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you, Tigist, for the update.
Thank you so much for having me.
Foreign Affairs State Minister Ambassador Misgano Araga, along with Minister of Planning and Development Fitsum Asafa, held a business meeting with the co-founder of a Hungarian-based international firm, Equilibrium Capital, Peter Nagy, in Doha, Qatar. The meeting, organized by the Ethiopian Embassy in Doha, focused on the potential of the firms invest in Ethiopian energy sector through a joint venture. Equilibrium Capital is a firm engaged in provision of sustainable financing, including energy infrastructure. According to Ethiopian news agency, the Ethiopian higher officials briefed the co-founder of the firm about the investment opportunities in Ethiopia, particularly the potentials in the generation of renewable energy and the transmission and provision of electricity services. They also highlighted the priority given by the Ethiopian government to equity capital following the opening up of the banking and financial sector to foreign investors, which is under implementation as part of the Ethiopian homegrown economic reform.